In this video lecture, we are going to discuss learner's index of monopoly power. So as the name suggests, learner's index, because this has been given by learner, index. So index is anything that measures something. For example, we have HDI, which measures the development of a country, of monopoly power. So as we know, as we enter a market, बहुत तरह की markets होती हैं, perfect competition होती है, monopoly होती है, oligopoly होती है. हर market में sellers के पास कुछ power होती है. Power मतलब कितना प्राइस वो कॉस्ट से ज्यादा सेल कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, परफेक्ट कंपटीशन में सेलर कुछ सुपर नॉर्मल प्रॉफिट्स नहीं अर्न करता, राइट? तो यानी उसकी मोनोपोली पावर, यानी पावर टू एक्सट्रैक्ट प्रॉफिट्स इज जीरो. ऑन द अदर हैंड, इफ वी टॉक ऑफ अ सिंगल सेलर, अ मोनोपोली, तो उसमें मोनोपोली पावर, सुपर नॉर्मल प्रॉफिट्स बहुत ज्यादा है. तो ये एक ऐसा इंडेक्स है जो मेजर करता है कि हम कितने ज्यादा प्रॉफिट्स एक सेलर एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकता है. तो सपोज योर टोटल रेवेन्यू, how will we derive? So let's derive this index. So this is PQ into Q. So this Q is the quantity जो आप sell कर रहे हैं. This PQ is the price. Now price is a function of your quantity, right? So price is a function of quantity, meaning that quantity अगर change होती है तो उससे price जो है वो change होगा, right? So total revenue is nothing, PQ into Q. Now let's find marginal revenue. As we know, marginal revenue is nothing but the differentiation of total revenue with respect to your Q quantity, right? So if Q increases by 1 unit, what is the change in your total revenue? So when this happens, now we will apply a chain rule. When we apply a chain rule, why a chain rule? Because see, your price is itself a function of quantity and your quantity is Q only. P dash Q, right? Into Q plus the derivative of Q is Q itself. Then you write PQ. This is just application of chain rule. Now, in equilibrium of any market, your MR has to be equal to your MC. Your MR has to be equal to MC in equilibrium. This is an equilibrium condition of economics. So if you apply this condition, P dash Q into Q plus PQ, P as a function of Q. This is not P into Q. This is P as a function of Q. This small c is suppose MC. So you are given that your MC is equal to small c. Now what you do is that you take this c here. So your PQ minus c is nothing but minus Q into P dash Q. This P dash Q is the derivative of price with respect to your quantity, assuming that price is a function of quantity as I'm updating. Now I have this equation. Now I'm going to do certain manipulations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write a formula for elasticity of demand. What is elasticity of demand? It is change in Q, quantity, with respect to price, into P into Q. This is the formula for elasticity of demand, right? This is the formula for elasticity of demand with respect to minus, with a minus sign here, right? So I'm going to do certain manipulations in this. Okay. So this dq by dp, what is this? This is the derivative of q with respect to p. Now, and what is this p dash q? This is nothing but dp upon dq. So here, if I have to find del dq upon dp, it is nothing but 1 upon p dash q. So it is the reciprocal of this thing, right? We are already using dp upon dq. Now, if we take the reciprocal of it, it becomes this thing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the equation. So let me put this. So now your ED becomes minus 1 by P dash Q, P upon Q. This is your elasticity of demand, right? Now, let's put this thing in this equation. So, you see there is this denominator here in this equation, right? And there is this term which matches it. So, let's try to use this thing, right? So, let me take this here, Q into P dash Q Q into P dash Q. Let me take this here. And now what I've done is minus P upon ED. So now I am going to put this second equation in the first equation. PQ minus C is as it is, right? So this is nothing but P upon ED. I've just substituted things, right? So when I've substituted things, now let me move this P in the denominator. PQ minus C upon P. This P is a function of Q, so I can write this as Q. Now this is your 1 upon ED, right? Elasticity. So this index that you get here, right? This thing that you get here, this is nothing but your learner's index of monopoly power. Now, let's understand a few things here. Let's have few interpretations here from this index. Just a minute. So let's have a few interpretations. Now, in this case, now, if I say that your elasticity is positive, right? I'm taking the positive elasticities. Now, if your elasticity is anything, elasticity of demand is anything greater than 1, right? That means your demand is elastic, right? When your demand is elastic in this case, what is going to happen is, so this terms is big, that means. So this whole terms becomes less. So that means if this is less, so this thing also becomes less. This thing becomes less means your monopoly power is also less. So that means when the demand is more elastic means when if there is a slight change in price, your quantity changes by a large amount, right? So that means your monopoly power is small in this case. So थोड़ा सा भी price बढ़ा दो तो फिर customers lose होने लग जाएंगे. So that means ज़्यादा price नहीं बढ़ा सकते. Means your monopoly power is less. On the other hand, if your elasticity, this is less than 1, right? So your monopoly power in this case is large, right? This is what this learner's index tells. It shows that how your monopoly power is related to your elasticity. So if your elasticity is less, right? So that means your monopoly power is more, less elastic, more monopoly power. On the other hand, if your elasticity is more, less would be the monopoly power. This finishes your learner's index.